I copy, Gold Leader. Move into position.
July 7th, 1944. Moved into our present location 2 days ago, at which time a German 88, bursting about 30 feet from Message Center, got Brockman and Mandlich. Didn't kill them, but injured them pretty badly. The shell burst shook up all pretty badly. We had just moved away from that area, or it might have got us. I picked this German's diary up today, the 7th, so the diary will start as of July 7th. We are moving up tomorrow. Fighting is pretty rough with lots of Germans killed today. Captured a large number yesterday, the 6th. Hope this diary brings me more luck than it did its last owner. I will write a preface in the front leading up to this point and start the diary here. Preface. Events up to the starting of the diary on July 7, 44. We sailed from Cardiff, Wales on the 4th of June, I believe, and was on the boat 5 days, landing on D+2, the 8th. We all know where we were going, but nobody seemed to be worried, and the crap games, etc., went right on. The boat was, of course, pretty crowded, but that was to be expected. We all raised hell and bitched to the high heavens about it, nevertheless. Our first glimpse of the war was the Spitfires and Thunderbolts, and a little later the flying forts going on over us to bomb the enemy installations. Then the next day brought us up to the warships and destroyers shelling the beaches, and that really was a show. We really enjoyed that. Then the time for unloading came, and we got a little nervous as the shells were falling in the water all around us. But of course unloading had to be done, so we done it. We made the beach okay, but a few of the boats were sunk around us. We drove on inland to our first CP in France, and the roads were lined with abandoned enemy tanks, wrecked, and enemy pillboxes. Using the road, I looked for dead Germans, but didn't see any. However, the next day when we moved on in, I saw plenty. I'll never forget the first thought. He was laying out the side of the road with a bullet hole between his eyes. A nice-looking blond boy. He looked to be about 16. Never have seen another that affected me just like him. Guess it was because he was the first I'd seen. I'll never forget how his hands looked, dangling at his sides. I can still see them. Several days later, with everyone, from the officers on down, all wanting a German Luger, I picked one up in the field. It was practically new, and I was tickled. Everyone has tried to trade me out of it, but so far I've managed to hang on to it. I also have a German Mauser rifle, but there are plenty of them around. We have undergone one bombing raid that was pretty bad, but with no one in our outfit hurt. Scared us up plenty, though. About the only thing we have to look forward to is our mail. When that fails to get through, it's sad to behold. Only time in my life that I could ever imagine a letter could mean so much. The meals are awful tiresome, same old thing, day in and day out, but nourishing anyway. Saw General Eisenhower on the 4th of July. He came into our CP in a Jeep, and we bumped right into him. We saluted, and he smiled and saluted back. Guess he is a good general. This work of art, incidentally, is being written by candlelight, with the big guns blasting all around, so I make no apologies for my writing. Our division to this date is not known to be here, so we wonder if we have ever been mentioned in the dispatches back home. Of course, we were overjoyed when Cherbourg fell and give us a feeling of much greater security. This is the general summary of what has gone before me up to July 7th. From here it looks like a long road to Berlin. Hope we can all come through in good shape and return to our loved ones back home. However, we feel our cause is just, and if we don't make it, we died for a good cause. Tally-ho! I have more to add to the preceding pages, and will do so as events return to my mind. Almost left out the glider and paratroops, who must have been magnificent in their fighting. From the very moment we landed, we saw evidence of their being in before us. Wrecked gliders were in every field, lots of times full of dead fellows who were killed in landing. At other times, they were machine-gunned before they could ever get away from the glider. Sure was pitiful. In lots of cases, they never fired a shot. Then, too, everywhere you looked, you could see paratroopers' chutes in the trees and on the ground. When they caught in the trees, the Boche bayoneted them or cut their throats. A prisoner was brought in every now and then that said they, the Germans, were told that the paratroopers were all ex-convicts from the United States, and that the paratroopers took no prisoners. The Germans were scared to death of them. They really are awful fighters. Just moved around here and there helping any unit out they can. They could be back at the rear resting, but most of them would rather be killing Hoyman the German. We were just a short way from Pont-la Abbey when it was bombed. We handled the message through message center calling for the bombing. Consequently, we knew what time it was to take place and had field glasses ready to really get an eyeful. At the appointed time, the Thunderbolts started coming in with their 500-pounders under each wing. Boy, was that place plastered. Later on, we advanced through the town, and there wasn't a building left standing. They just wiped that town off the map. The name of the town was Pont-la Abbey, a German strong point. We had been here only a short time at this point, and we all remember the nights pretty darn well. Every little noise sounded like a German creeping up to bayonet you, so there wasn't much sleeping. Several times a foot messenger had a shot taken at them by snipers that came mighty close. We finally got used to all of this and just took it in our stride. Strangely enough, the big tough boys back in the States were the little scare guys over here in 9 out of 10 cases. I got a real bang out of this. Would like to enter a word or two here about one of the most popular guys in the company, Bugs Cale, a boy from Chicago. Cale was killed in the bombing raid on us at Landivy the night of August 5th. During the early part of the afternoon, a German plane flew over us, sizing up the situation. Just as we expected, around midnight, here came 7 or 8 of their bombers to give us the works. Pop Shatner and myself were lying on a small hill by his truck when they came over. First, they dropped those damn flares that light everything up bright as day. Then they started dropping the bombs. After it was all over, we found out Cale had been killed instantly, thank God, and a couple of the other men slightly injured. Sure seemed strange to the laughing and kidding with a guy one day, and a few hours later he is gone. Pretty darn hard to take it, too, after you've lived together for 2 years. He was a swell egg, and we all hated to see him go. Kind of like a game. Everyone wonders who will be next. Nobody seems scared to death, though. I'll try to write down my feelings during one of these bombings or shellings. It's true enough, I suppose, that one man may be more afraid than another. However, if a man said he wasn't afraid at all, then I would say he's a liar, and a big one. First you hug the ground as flat as you can, then cuss yourself for not digging a foxhole. If you have one, you wonder why in the hell you didn't dig it deeper. Then when you hear the bomb whistling down towards you, believe me, you say a little prayer every time. After the explosion, you get ready for the next one, and so on till it's over. Then you start talking to anyone who happens to be near in what you think is a very calm voice. Then later on, you try to convince everyone that you weren't scared. Bet you they know better, though. This is around the 20th of August now, and we have raced from Le Mans to help close the gap on the Germans. The bulk of the German 7th Army is supposed to be in the valley just ahead. By day, our planes are bombing them, and at night our artillery takes up where they leave off. All day long, truck after truck of prisoners roll by heading for the PW stockade at the rear. Among them are hundreds of badly wounded who are receiving the same care as our own men. They are all a pretty sorry-looking sight. We feel no pity for them. We've seen too many of our own fellows shot to pieces, and they are still the guys who pulled the triggers. I haven't seen the trap ahead as yet, but hope to soon. Of course, now it's all over and nothing remains except dead horses, wrecked vehicles, dead men, and parts of men spread all over the valley. The German army took one hell of a beating here, and I imagine the whole show cost them between 75 and 100,000 men. This is the evening of August 23rd, and tomorrow I may get a chance to see where the German 7th Army ended its part of the war. We entered Le Mans on August 9th. We received the usual welcome. The people were really glad to see us. We set up right in the middle of town while the fighting was still going on. There was plenty of firing going on all around us as snipers tried to knock off a few of us. One fellow was killed just a few yards from where we were standing. He just fell over dead. Seeing a man killed instantly like that isn't so bad. When you see one with both legs shot off or one arm, then it really stays with you for a while. We got the town cleaned out okay, and a couple of nights later, Tony, myself, and Boot sneaked off for a little celebration. We all three got pretty drunk, came staggering back in around 3 in the morning. We sure felt like hell the next day. That was enough for me for the duration. But not for Boot. The CO caught him stiff again a couple days later, and it is now Private Brandenburg. We would have liked to have spent more time there, but the Germans were on the run, and it was our job to cut them off. We helped do that all right a little later. It was here in Le Mans that Cox and Stern rejoined our group. They had been out with TFW and really had some experiences. I won't write them here as I shall always remember them. On August the 26th, we crossed the Seine River at Fontainebleau, and a couple days later, the River Marne. The rivers were both about the same size and as beautiful as any river or stream I ever saw at home. The water was blue and as clear and clean looking as a spring. Of course, the minute I saw them, I started thinking of fishing and how much time I was going to put in with the old rod and reel when I got home. Now, coincidentally, Great Uncle Charles died in 1951 of drowning, having fallen out of a fishing boat while fishing. When you saw the valley, the Marne formed with the high wooded hills on each side, then you could understand why it was a famous battleground of the last war. Perfect defensive positions on each side. This time, though, the only sign of the Germans was a few of the wrecked trucks, tanks, and guns. Lots of them still burning, or I should say smoking. Every few miles, we would see a small group of German prisoners, French or Americans, and rounded up. They are all rough-looking cookies, the Germans. On the other hand, our boys don't look like Don Juans. The French are still tickled silly to see us and stand by the roadside giving us eggs, cider, apples, anything they have. In lots of cases, we pull into a town and maybe the Germans have pulled out only 2 hours before. On September 8th, about 2 in the morning, we were set up in a small clump of trees pretty close to the main road. We were awakened by German voices and found out an enemy armored column was filing past us on the road. About that time, 2 of our anti-tank guns opened up on the Germans and the battle was on. Someone in our area fired on the column of tanks and they started throwing shells in on us. Our CO told us to fall back over the hill. I was beside Goff, and he had been hit through the stomach and leg. He and I got caught and pinned down by enemy fire. We lay in the woods all night, and I gave him what first aid I could. Guess he must have suffered quite a bit, but he never complained. It was about 7 the next morning before I could get him to the medics. The doc said he didn't think Goff would live, but I'll bet money he did. Later on that morning, I got caught in a tank battle and saw our troops knock out 6 large German tanks. Later on, I rejoined my outfit and found out Driesman, Tony, Cass, Lieutenant Monty, and several more had been hit, and Gillum, another good friend, was killed that night. Gillum's wife is expecting a new baby later on this month, so we sure hated to see him go. He was a really swell guy. We are going to send the baby a war bond later this month. Sure was a tough day and night, and we were glad to finally see it over. The division took 740 prisoners, besides a lot of dead, knocked out 36 German tanks, completely destroying the convoy. During the morning, while we looked for the outfit, we ran into a battalion of our infantry and 5 German tanks at the same time. After the smoke cleared away, the Boche had 5 less tanks, and our army had a badly scared corporal. We really had a grandstand seat for the show, and was darn glad to get out okay. The infantry took several prisoners and knocked off plenty more. At time, when we sat down in a location for 2 weeks or so in a fairly quiet place, then the war seemed quite far away. Funny thing, I never have been really homesick since I left the States. I know back in camp in the U.S., I used to get so lonesome for home, and everyone in and around it I couldn't see. That was the one big thing I dreaded when we came across. Of course, I miss everybody terribly, but it isn't that downright sick feeling I had back there. We have quite a little bit of time to read and write letters home unless we are just moving too fast. That is just about all the luxuries we have had up to date. Several of the fellows received the Reader's Digest, and it is always welcome. I sometimes think of old Burkett and what a chance this would have been for him. Material for articles, books, short stories all around. If he had been here, he would have come up with a good story of this war. The real reason for my writing in this darn little old book is at times I just have nothing else to do, so I just yank this from a pocket and start rambling away. On the 25th of September, we moved into a little village called Doncourt, not far from Metz. Our team was off duty when we moved, so the setup of our quarters in a kind of bomb shelter underneath the Frenchman's house. It was fairly warm underneath there, and we found plenty of hay in his barn to sleep on. He then ran us a light down from his house, and we had electric lights in our new home. The family consisted of the Frenchman, his wife, baby boy of about 14, and a girl about 15. His wife's mama and papa also lived with them. The baby was as cute as could be and into something all the time. The girl had infantile paralysis at one time or the other and was crippled up pretty badly. She surely was a pitiful sight, but smiled all the time, was just as nice as she could be. We felt sorry for her and went out of our way to be nice to her. Every evening we would all go up to listen to the radio. Every time we could swipe a can of peaches, coffee, or sugar from the kitchen, it went to the French family upstairs. They always took out the family album to show it to us. The father understood and spoke German, so with Samson acting as interpreter, we got along pretty well. They surely are nice people, and we are going to miss them when we move on. The Frenchman told us the Germans allowed them only 40 cigarettes a month. Of course, while we are here, he smokes about all he wants. I'm writing this on October 16th, and there are no indications of us moving yet. We may continue to stay here for some time. This is the 27th of November. We have by now left the German-speaking Frenchman and his family quite some distance behind. Thanksgiving has come and gone. Everyone is in good spirits. We have passed the Maginot Line and are now approaching the Rhine. The crowds of cheering Frenchmen are also left behind as we pass through villages with definite German names. The people living in these same villages make no welcoming signs. Most of them just go on about their work without hardly a glance as we pass. Also, most of the buildings we pass have been shelled or blown up. A pretty desolate-looking country. Several times we have occupied former German barracks and forts. We see their names scrawled here and there. Of course, everything they didn't take along with them has been smashed. We will be in Germany very shortly, perhaps tomorrow. That's good news for us because every step takes us nearer home. End preface. Here begins Great Uncle Charles's entries on D-Day plus 31. D plus 31. Moved into new location near St. Horace today. Just relieved from 5 nights of straight duty. Location here seems to have been shelled pretty heavily before. Hope they don't start again. Had white bread, or I should say bread, tonight for supper. First in about 30 or 35 days. D plus 32. Dropped several shells right around us again last night. No one hit, thank the Lord. Scared the hell out of us all as usual. It was pretty quiet today, but we dread tonight again. Spent most of the day sleeping as no one got any sleep last night. D plus 33. Today is Sunday, my second anniversary in the Army. Hope it's my last, and I don't mean killed to avoid another. More shells last night, but not quite so bad. Here we are to be relieved for a while. Hope so. Sure would like to have a bath and clean clothes. D plus 34. Stern and myself moved into newly dug foxhole. Dug plenty deep with lots of dirt on top. Too many shells. Found German telescopic sight in bushes, cleaning it up, and hope to keep it. The daytime commando seemed to think we were attacked by tanks last evening. Bullshit. D plus 35. Just another rather quiet day with not too much going on. Also another all-night session of guarding. Haven't slept any in about 10 nights now. Do all of our sleeping in the daytime. Seem to be pushing the enemy back slowly but surely. Pretty stubborn resistance. Saw enemy plane shot down last night. Not much air activity. Weather. D plus 36. Rumor we are to move on up soon. Sun is shining brightly today for the first time in at least a week. Had pancakes and sausage for breakfast this morning. Best meal to date in France, and I sure ate plenty. Received letter from cousin Jack, who is in England. Surprised to hear from him. Also one from Francis. D plus 37. Another sleepless night on guard last evening. Not much doing today. Light artillery fire today and last night. Rumored we are withdrawn as of midnight tonight. Guess just to be taken off the line for a rest. Hope so, as I am sure the infantry can use a rest. Starting to rain again tonight. Looks like more wet weather ahead. D plus 38. Moved location into the vicinity of Le Plessis, edge of big swamp. Several dead Nazis around. Stern and I found a parachute and about 25 bayonets. Plan to send the chute home. Also found new baseball glove. Washed our fatigues for first time since arrival. Evidence of very heavy U.S. shelling in this area. Germans must have really had hell. D plus 39. Went back on duty today. Live in an ex-German cave in Bank. They really know how to dig in. Am writing this now in candlelight and dugout. Had 3 letters from Francis and 1 from home. Sure enjoyed them. Moving on up tomorrow to around Jorge's, I think. Mosquitoes are sure as hell here. D plus 40. Received long letter from Francis. 7 pages. Moved to new location. Had first shower in 45 days. Sure enjoyed it. Ran an old pig and her little pigs out of a pen. Cleaned it up and slept there last night. First time to sleep in a pigsty. Light artillery fire. Very quiet. In the vicinity of Saint Germain and Jorge's at present. D plus 41. Still in same location. Things seem to be at a kind of standstill in our sector. Very quiet around here. News came through that St. Lo had fallen. Found dead German's grave down the road. Head cross read, killed 6th of July. Going is slow and plenty tough from all reports. Have seen very few enemy aircraft up to now. D plus 42. Sent Dad and Francis parts of the parachute I found the day I landed. Though it might make a good souvenir for them. Cleaned up my Luger tonight. Still pretty quiet, but things should be popping soon. Got clean clothes today, first in around 50 days. D plus 43. Passed a rather uneventful day. Saw 2 German planes shot down with 1 pilot bailing out. The other went down in flames. Was right in there firing like hell with the old 50. Should be ready to move on up in a couple of days. D plus 44. Saw W. Chansey today and talked with him for a while. Got a letter from Frances saying her mother had cancer. Sure hated to hear that. She has lots of spunk, though, and will see it through without a whimper. A very exceptional woman and a hell of a fine one. Dad also wrote, was glad to hear from Mother and him. D plus 45. Very quiet today. News of unrest coming out of Germany. Hitler nearly assassinated. Note, this is 2 days after the July 20th attempt to bomb Hitler. Entry is July 22nd. Still sitting here waiting. Supposed to attack today, but weather too bad for air support. News of our division finally released. Only outfit in here fighting with our identity unknown. D plus 46. Attack finally got underway today. Going is very slow and really tough. Weather remains rainy and bad. We have had a bad break on the weather for the past 3 weeks. Reports of unrest still filtering out of Germany. Luftwaffe has still not shown itself in any force. Prediction. War here will near its end in November. D plus 47. Very quiet. Not much change and nothing happening. D plus 48. Action picking up. Should start driving ahead soon. Front lines are having bitter hand-to-hand fighting. D plus 49. Saw a huge fortress raid right here on our front. At one time could count hundreds of planes in the sky. American. Saw 3 shot down in flames. Had picture taken today. May be published in Tulsa World. Mailed Dad his ashtray today. Big attack underway. Russians are 50 miles from Warsaw. D plus 50. Stern predicts it will all be over by D plus 100. The planes we saw yesterday was one of the largest raids of the war. Should be moving ahead soon. Hope so. Official report says there were over 2,000 planes participating in the raid yesterday. The earth is still shaking. D plus 51. Received 4 letters from home and a box of candy from Francis. Sure was good. 1 letter from Barry Crosby. We have broken through the German lines and going ahead. Eastern Front looks like it's going great guns. Making another ashtray to send home. General McNair killed in Normandy today. D plus 52. New location near Perrières today. In Old Chateau. Beautiful home of French Count. Move further ahead today than we have at any one time. Germans continue to withdraw. Evidence here that they withdrew in good order. Have picture of this old place in back of diary. Found German helmet to sing Clyde. D plus 53. Today was Saturday. Spent most of the day sleeping as we are on night duty right now. Still in Chateau. Sure must have been a swell place at one time. Front is driving on ahead. Have a figure of a boar hog I'm going to send home. Looks like a dandy piece of work to me. Things are kind of quiet around here. D plus 54. Got up around 2:30 and made a can of coffee. We are now officially in reserve. That is, taking off the front lines. Which suits us fine. Am sending Francis an ashtray and the English coins I have. D plus 55. Payday. Paid today. Sent $15 home in addition to my $35 allotment. Really getting rich. Not much to report. Just waiting now to move back into action. Should do this soon. War looking good on all fronts, and this may be the beginning of the end. Russians driving ahead just outside Warsaw. D plus 56. Getting ready to move forward. Slept all day again after working all night. Found a SS German helmet I'm sending to Dad. Hate to leave this chateau. Been the nicest setup we have had so far. Got to go ahead, though, if we intend to get this thing through. D plus 57. Moved around 50 miles today up through Coutances and out the other side of Avranches. Toughest day I've put in since the invasion. Bombed and strafed by German planes. One of them flew so low across my head I could have hit it with an air rifle. Otherwise, not much to report. D plus 58. Spent the day resting. German aircraft around all day. No shellfire. No mail for a couple of days. Beautiful weather for a change. D plus 59. Today was Friday. We have been having a pretty good taste of the Luftwaffe for the last night or two. They are trying to knock out the crossroads near here. We have shot down several during the night. Saw one shot down this afternoon about 2 miles from here. D plus 60. Moved up to Landivy today. Country in here looks 100% better. Traded candy for a couple dozen eggs. Boy, are they good. Also bought first French bread. Our armor is still going ahead. Should move again tomorrow. Weather perfect. D plus 61. Caught hell last night. Bombed by Jerry planes. 4 of the company hurt. Don't know how bad yet. Swanson being one of them. Sure hope they aren't hurt bad. We'll find out later in the day. Should start advancing again right away. Bombs hit pretty close to us last night. Sure scares the heck out of you. You always have time to pray a little. D plus 62. Advanced another 20 miles. The French are wild with excitement. Throw flowers to us and wave all along the road. Found out about the boys who were hit last night. Cale was killed. Swanson and Costello hurt. Hope not bad. May move on right away. Dread tonight. Again, those bombs are terrible. Can't sleep with those planes droning around. D plus 63. Still advancing. Passed through several small towns, and one the people had just had a big wedding and were out in the streets throwing us flowers as we went through. Everyone was dressed in black for the bride's virginity. We are moving day and night with hardly any rest at all. D plus 64. Entered Le Mans today. Largest city we have liberated, I believe. People were tickled to death to see us. As I write this, you can hear rifles going off all around us as the boys hunt out the ever-present snipers and finish them off. Lots of German vehicles on the road coming into town and plenty of dead krauts. D plus 65. We were off duty today and set up in the center of Le Mans. Spent the day sleeping and looking a little of the town over. Had a nice hot shower and clean underwear this afternoon. Sure felt good. People are very friendly and are sure tickled we are here. D plus 66. Pulled out of Le Mans today and went forward about 15 kilometers. Saw General Patton today for first time. Also saw Ernie Pyle yesterday for a few minutes. Gostin suffered a fractured skull today, fell out of a Jeep. The war is sure moving at a terrific rate right now. Hope we can keep moving. D plus 67. Still moving. Not much time to stop and rest. Sleep when you can, and the weather is getting hotter than old Hades. Trying to cut off a nice chunk of the German army. Just about have the circle closed on them. I haven't had time to write home in the past 4 or 5 days. D plus 68. Sunday. Worked again today. Set up just outside of Alencon. It is supposed to be a pretty fair-sized town. We should just about have the Germans surrounded by now. Supposed to be a pretty fair-sized force. Weather is very warm. Set up in another nice chateau that was used as a barracks by the Germans before we moved in. D plus 69. Monday. Still in present location. Received candy and cigars from the folks. Sure were good. Also, Francis sent pictures of the family. Very quiet in here for the past several days. Hope I can buy the family and friends some gifts before long and send them home. D plus 70. Moved to the other side of the seas. Fair-sized French town. Evidence of pretty tough fighting all around. Doing nothing at present. Off duty and in waiting to move on. New bridgehead established in southern France. Good news. D plus 71. Reports that Patton has reached the outskirts of Paris as he promised by the 16th have come through. Unconfirmed as yet. The new landings in the south are moving ahead with good progress. We are still trying to bottle up the troops in here. Weather's still nice and warm. Good news on all fronts. D plus 72. Still here and still very quiet. Expect to move on up tomorrow. Sleeping and guarding. Heard from Jackie for the first time yesterday. He had been here 3 weeks and no action. Hope he never sees any. Glad to hear he's okay, though. D plus 73. Moved on up around 4 or 5 miles today. Plane strafed us a little this evening. Looked like a British Spitfire. Germans fighting fiercely to get out of the trap up ahead. D plus 74. Well, we closed the trap on the Germans today at last. All day long we have seen truckloads of German prisoners going toward the rear. Up ahead, the wrecked vehicles line the road for miles where they tried to escape the trap. The 90th Division of the boys who closed the gate. Got a hold of some fresh eggs today. D plus 75. Today we have been watching truckloads of German prisoners going back towards the rear. Plenty of them are a pretty sorry-looking lot. Some of them look to be around 15 years old, while others are at least 50. They must really went through hell the way our artillery has been pounding them. D plus 76. Work on cleaning out the German pocket has gone steadily on. Our division has taken over 6,000 prisoners. The destruction up ahead has been terrific. German dead are everywhere. Lots of them made the mistake of trying to break out of the trap. War is over for them. Plenty of rain the past 5 days. D plus 77. Rain continues. Pretty miserable weather. Slept until about noon, then ate and shaved. Red Cross was here and gave us donuts and coffee in the afternoon. Tonight, Wilkowski and Johnson were seriously injured when their pup overturned. Johnson is a very special friend. I sure hope they are okay. D plus 78. Paris falls to the Allies. Romania reported asking for peace late this evening. Rain again today. Some of the fellows were up in the valley today looking around. Found some German stuff. Report plenty of dead Germans everywhere and lots of destroyed equipment. Stern and I hope to go up tomorrow. Guess we lose Johnson and Wachowski. D plus 79. Didn't get to go up to the trap today. Swanson gave me a new German bayonet and scabbard he had picked up ahead. We are still in the same location but should move along way before long. Maybe in the direction of Paris. Sun shone today for a change. Mail has been light for past couple of days. D plus 80. Slept all day. Got up around 3 and 8. Saw Eddie Cantor in Show Business. A very poor picture, even if I hadn't seen one in 4 months. Tonight the sky has been filled with planes, Allied. Most night air activity we have seen since we landed. Moving tomorrow up around Paris somewhere. D plus 81. Moved around 170 miles today up around Fontainebleau. Very pretty place, nicest French town we have seen to date. Sleeping in large forest tonight. Passed lots of wrecked German equipment on our trip today. Weather remains fine. Crossed the Seine River, very pretty and not so large. D plus 82. Pushed on around 30 miles today. Left around 10 and arrived around 8 in the evening. Sure was a slow, tiresome trip. Germans had just left one town we passed through the night before. We are wondering now when they are going to stand and fight. D plus 83. Still moving. Moved around 30 more miles today. We are set up now only a few miles from Chateau Thierry. We all remember this place well from the last war. Haven't had a chance to write home in 3 days. The country is open and lots different from the Normandy we saw a few weeks back. Guess we'll keep moving. Little opposition. D plus 84. Moved on today to a little town called Savigny-sur-Ardèche, about 15 or 20 miles from Reims. We spent almost all day moving in the rain, very miserable. Everybody is in excellent spirits because of the dandy progress we're making. Already our columns are reported to be near the German border. They will make a big stand soon. Everyone thinks it will last about 2 weeks. D plus 85. Wonder who won the All-Star game in Chicago tonight. I picked the Bears to win by 13 points. We're now not more than 3 or 4 miles from Reims. Some of the boys are in town doing a little celebrating. Hope we get paid tomorrow so we can go in and look around. Have acquired a German blowtorch to cook our meals on, and it works fine. D plus 86. Payday. Little rainy today. Everything pretty quiet around here. Our team is now resting, and I'm trying to get caught up on my letter writing. Plenty of wild blackberries around. They sure taste good. Going to Reims tonight. It's off limits, but we plan to sneak in for a while. D plus 87. Got paid today instead of yesterday, so it's Reims tonight. We had a couple of quarts of champagne today, and is all right. Sells for around $5 a quart. Went into Reims, drank plenty of champagne, got tight, walked 8 or 9 miles back, and didn't get home till around 5. Was wore out. D plus 88. After the Reims trip, we slept until around noon. The cathedral was the most beautiful thing we had ever seen. Sure was a fine piece of work. Should be moving soon. Everything pretty quiet as usual. Haven't had any mail for past 2 or 3 days. D plus 89. Some of the guys sneaked off and went to one of the local dances. They came back around 3 in the morning and said the dance was still going strong. I wasn't here when they left, so missed the whole darn thing. They all said they had a good time, especially Mac. D plus 90. Should move today or tomorrow. Stern has 10 more days left on his predictions of the war being over. We haven't been able to move the past few days because we've been waiting for gas. Guess the armored boys get their gas first, then us later. D plus 91. Moved up around 100 miles today, up the other side of Verdun. Rain most of the day. We are setting up tonight in a forest just outside of Le Mans, a small French village. Might move on again tomorrow. D plus 92. Worked today and saw General Patton again. Rained again all day, and the fog has been thick all day. No mail again today. Guess our planes have been pretty well grounded for the past week or 2 because of the weather. Rumor has it that General Patton said yesterday it would all be over in 2 weeks. D plus 93. Saw the most beautiful rainbow I've ever seen this morning when I got up. Later on in afternoon, moved on up to new location. D plus 94. About 2 o'clock this morning, we were trapped by enemy armored column. Goff, Cass Stevens, and Lieutenant Montgomery, Driesman, and Polache were all wounded. Gillum was killed. Most horrible night any of us has put in yet. Full details will be put in front of book. D plus 95. We gathered together again today. I was lost from the outfit this morning, got caught in a tank battle, saw 5 German tanks knocked out. Really a tough night and day, but we recovered our equipment and are ready to carry on. D plus 96. Moved on again to a little town and set up. Our team is working days now. We're about to get settled again after the big battle. Miss Gillum, Goff, and all a lot. I have taken Goff's place as team chief, which is a promotion but not in rank. D plus 97. Worked again today, sunshine for a change. Weather gets cooler and cooler. Still a little upset over the other night. Tony came back today on our team, has the Purple Heart. We were all glad to see him. D plus 98. Worked today again, moved forward about 2 in the afternoon. In the distance we can see Moselle River. Artillery is blasting all around us again, pounding the enemy ahead. The day has been the nicest in several weeks. Sun has been out all day. We must be almost into the Maginot Line. D plus 99. Wednesday. Still in bivouac. Spent the day sleeping and reading. Not much news. Weather is wet and still pretty cool. D plus 100. Rained all night last night, most of all day today. Not too far from Metz today. The Moselle River is somewhere just ahead of us, and the Germans are probably pretty strong there. Lots of towns now have German names on the streets. D plus 101. Still rain, work, and sleep. Still sitting here in the same spot. Tough resistance ahead around Metz. D plus 102. Still here, nothing new to report. Few planes around for a change. Artillery falling around, but not too close yet. Have been able to write several letters in the past day or two. Getting quite a little bit of mail also. D plus 103. Still here, work and rain. D plus 104. Still here, rain and work. D plus 105 to D plus 106. We lost Lieutenant Shelton to Corps. He was replaced by Lieutenant Mark, and Kaltauser has come back to the company from England. Everything pretty quiet for us at present. D plus 107 to D plus 109. This whole period in here has been unusually quiet. The troops ahead are being held up by the fortress Metz. We may be in here for some time, sleeping, eating, and trying to stay dry. D plus 110. This marks 11 days here in this one spot. Believe me, we are ready to change locations. Heavy bomber raid will probably be needed to clear the area ahead of us. D plus 111. Move up here to Dawncourt yesterday afternoon. I think the idea was just to get out of the weather as we are set up in a building and barns in this little village. Maybe now we will have a chance to dry out our blankets, etc. D plus 112. Sure is a lot better living in this barn. At least we're in out of the rain, have plenty of hay to sleep on. Nothing much to do now except wait for another move. I kind of think we may stay here at Dawncourt for some time. Weather is better, no rain. D plus 113. Sun shone today for the first time, I believe, in 2 weeks. We are still eating and sleeping. Cigarettes are really getting low, but we still have a supply of Dukes. Mail is awful slow, and at present we just aren't receiving any. D plus 114. Cox and I went back to Brie today with one of our messengers and had a good hot bath. First in weeks, and we really felt better when we were through. The food has been a little better lately. Sun shone again today. Weather is nice. Got a pipe from the Red Cross, but no tobacco. D plus 115. Today is Friday. Sun has shined again. We can see our planes dive bombing a few miles ahead. Tonight we talked with the French family a while before going to bed. They told us lots about the Germans through one of our boys who can speak French. D plus 116. Today is Saturday and the football season really gets underway this weekend. Sure would like to hear a good game for a change. Rain again today. We knew the sunshine wouldn't last long. D plus 117. Rain today. Today was also payday. Having a pretty good cold start and have felt punk for the past few days. Took a pretty good round of medicine. The last couple of nights we've been listening to the radio in the French home. It sure helps break the monotony. Such spelling. D plus 118, no entry. D plus 119. Some talk on the World Series starting tomorrow. Guess it's something to look forward to. Some guys would stop in the middle of a fight to argue the World Series, I believe. D plus 120. Series open today. Browns take opener. Games are being broadcast over here. Took shots today and made everyone pretty sick. Have fever and feel like hell. D plus 121. Heard first word from Goff today. Relieved to hear he is okay and in England. D plus 122. No entry. D plus 123. Saturday. Listened to the World Series game yesterday. Hope to hear a football game tonight. Spent the most of the day playing Rummy 500. Been very pretty today. Nice day we have had in weeks. Hope the nice weather continues. Sure really feels good. D plus 124. Sunday. Just. D plus 125. Worked KP today for the first time since we've been in France. Weather has started to turn bad again. Got some peaches, butter, rice, and canned corn and gave to the French people upstairs. Listened to the last ball game of the series. D plus 126. Tuesday. Everything's still quiet. Sent Gillum's baby 2 $100 bonds. We all miss old Gillum a lot, and I, for one, shall never forget him. Hope his wife doesn't take his death too hard. D plus 127. Nothing to report. Feeling okay and raring to get moving into the land of the Superman. D plus 128 to D plus 130. These days we're all about the same thing. Sleeping, eating, and listening to the radio and playing rummy. Still here in Doncourt, no move in sight yet. May be here for a while yet. D plus 131, Saturday. Spent the biggest part of the day in code school. Tried to locate a football game in the evening on the Frenchman's radio. No luck. Cox and I finally ended the day by talking way into the night. D plus 132, Monday. Worked last night for a change. Rain. D plus 133. Tuesday. That's all that's in there. D plus 134 to D plus 146. No entries. D plus 147. Leaving here tomorrow to go back out of the line for a little rest. Been there for some time and hate to leave. Have enjoyed this place quite a bit. Hope our next setup is as nice. This French family has sure been nice to us. We won't forget them very soon. We were here 37 days. D plus 148. Moved to Piennes today. This is the place we unloaded Goff when he was hit. Tank battle was fought not far from here. The same German tanks I saw shot up are sitting in the same spots. Pretty interesting to see this place again. D plus 149. Living in a hotel room. Our teams are on duty at this time. Company is drilling, standing retreat, etc. Supposed to be back here for a rest. We wonder. We are at least in out of the weather, and that is something. D plus 150. The town has a whorehouse, and when you pass it, you can see the GIs lined up for half a block. Officers included. Thank God I don't care to be seen in a line like that. Have not been untrue to my wife since I saw her last, and am damn proud of it. Will continue to do so. D plus 151. We usually work till around 5, then go up to the room, read a while, and then go to bed. There isn't much else to do. Getting damn tiresome. D plus 152. Sunday, heard the Navy Notre Dame game last night. Worked again today. This is a little larger town than Doncourt. Stern gave me a chess set and a German book. I plan to send them home right away. D plus 153. Saw a show last night, 7-day leave. It was rotten. If the people at home are having to go see pictures like that, I sure pity them. Raining like hell again, and I hear we are moving back into the line again. Mail's pretty scarce. Think we are moving back to replace the 95th Division. Sent chess set to mother, German book to Barry Crosby. D plus 154. No move yet. Rain again today. Read couple hours last night and then went to bed. Forward team moved up today. D plus 155. We moved on up today. Quartered in old German barracks not but about a mile from the Moselle River. Artillery busting in around us again. Seems like old times. Sure felt punk for the past couple of days. D plus 156. Stood guard last night in the rain and cold. Field camp was killed this morning by mortar fire. Another swell fella gone. Watched our planes dive bombing the Germans today. We have some tough going ahead of us now. Feel lots better tonight. Looks like more guard duty in the rain. Sure tired of the war. No mail for 2 weeks. D plus 157. Just got off guard, so I'll make my usual entry before returning. Artillery fire still pretty heavy, but we are driving the Jerry's back. Feeling a little better. Sure is a tough war, but when you're feeling bad. All the fellows are in bed, so I guess I'd better join them. D plus 158. Saturday, Armistice Day. Not much doing today. Stern had a box from home, so we had supper together. Sardines, crackers, fruitcake, etc. Of course, we had Rat Top and Cox eat with us. Stood guard and then retired. D plus 159. Sunday, just like any weekday. Not much doing. Poker game in one corner, bull session in another, coffee making in another. Heard the football scores, and tonight had a big football session. That's over and time to hit the hay. Good old rain again. D plus 160. Worked KP today. Hope it's my last for a while. Tried to have a movie tonight, but no soap. The damn thing wouldn't work. Moving on up early in the morning. Had word from Francis that Anne Marie had arrived. Sure would like to see her. D plus 161. Moved up and over the Moselle this morning at 5:30. River was at flood stage and pretty high. Located in a small village about 3 miles from the river. Working tonight, weather cold, and it's raining as usual. D plus 162. Wednesday. Working nights now, sleeping in daytime. Quite a bit of shelling last night, and Johnson V was hit. Helmet saved his life. German tanks, I believe. Received first Christmas box from the folks today. D plus 163. Thursday. Worked last night, slept today. No more shelling. That's tough. Sitting and wondering where those shells are going to hit next. Moving up tomorrow. I think to Fort Königsmacher. D plus 164. Moved on up this afternoon, putting up in stucco house the Germans were using. Guard duty tonight. Should keep moving as the Germans are withdrawn. Cox got word his mother had died. Feel sorry for him, but he is taking it well. D plus 165. Saturday. Moved up here this afternoon to Abencourt. Germans just moved out this morning. 90th Division closed the gap tonight surrounding Metz. Don't think it will hold out very long. If we can keep driving, this may be it. D plus 166. Sunday. Expected to move today, but not yet. We are working days now. Made sergeant yesterday. Germans are still falling back. Yesterday and today have been fairly nice. Nicest day we have had for weeks. Working hard. D plus 167. Monday. Well, still here. Got 4 Christmas cards and am mailing them right away. It has rained steadily all day long. The mud is a slushy mess, ankle deep. Had a letter from Francis and one from Burkett today. Match should fall in the next few days. Anxious to get started moving again. D plus 168. Tuesday. Rain all day long. Letter from Margie and Barry Crosby. Sent few Christmas cards today. Just had a very few. D plus 169. Wednesday. Moved on up today around 10 or 12 miles. Day before Thanksgiving, and Sugar Daddy is on KP tomorrow. D plus 170. Thanksgiving. Fresh eggs for breakfast. Turkey and the trimmings for dinner. Really a good meal. Sugar Daddy got KP. Andy got T4. The rest of us worked all afternoon moving a pile of horse shit. We are drinking our evening coffee now, to bed in a few minutes, back to the war tomorrow. Or sooner. D plus 171. Friday. Everyone has the GIs. Guess the food was just too rich for all the months of sea rations. Very nearly everyone was hit with the turkey trot. For some reason or other, it didn't affect me. I'm working tonight for Lunger, who is sick. D172. Saturday. Slept most of the day after working last night. Fairly nice day for a change. May move on up pretty soon. Tonight is awful pretty. Stars are all out. The whole bunch of us are sitting around talking and arguing football. D plus 173. Just kind of messed around today. Slept a little this afternoon. Saw a show tonight, Kansas City Kitty, with Joan Davis. Kind of funny. We enjoyed it. That's the second one I've seen since we landed. We are moving on up this morning. D plus 174. Moved on up today, and they are now in the former German barracks. Our team is working nights again. The buildings we are in are pretty well shot up. Had a letter from Francis today, mailed from Bixby on October 28th. It is snowing tonight, and we are working again. D plus 175. Slept today and back on duty tonight. I've been reading a little tonight. Wrote Frances a letter earlier in the evening. Sure would love to be with her and the folks. Seems like a time I can't endure another day of this damn war. D plus 176. Just about the same schedule. Work and sleep. Rain and mud. D plus 177. The same. No change. Am reading A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. Pretty interesting book. D plus 178. Payday. Paid on my debts. Broke again. Makes no difference. Wouldn't have any place to spend it anyway. Ho hum. D plus 179. Guess this is the last night's work here. We're moving on up tomorrow. Heard the Army-Navy game tonight. Some game. Guess Army has a great team. Raining hard tonight. Received the annual football guide by mail today. Glad to receive it. D plus 180. Sunday moved up to Himmersdorf today, a little German village. We're staying here in one of the houses until we move on up. D plus 181. Still here, maybe here several days. They are shelling up here at night. Things are pretty quiet during the day. Resting and doing guard duty at present. Plenty wet. D plus 182. Well, the days are still rolling by and the war drags on and on. Wonder when everyone will come to their senses and end this mess. It might go on for 60 days or it might go on for a year. Ratner's books continue to stack up. Rain. D plus 183. Rain, rain, rain. We are still here. It sure gets tiresome just messing around here in bivouac. Just sit and look at each other and cuss each other 24 hours. I'm surprised we don't try to kill each other once in a while. D plus 184. It's really raining tonight. Mud is knee-deep to a horse. Nothing new. Play a little poker tonight. 1. D plus 185. Friday. We are all starting to receive our Xmas boxes from back home. Candy cakes, sardines, nuts, etc. Laying all over the place. 2 weeks ago, they were unheard of luxuries. I've had several boxes the last couple of weeks to arrive. Today, one came from Maxine Hartley. Was a surprise. D plus 186. Saturday. D plus 187 to D plus 199. No entries. D plus 200. 2445 East. D plus 201 to D plus 213. No entries. D plus 214. Moving to new sector tomorrow. And that is all that Uncle Charles wrote.